Hey guys, how's it going? When I first got my Canon R6 Mark II, I didn't know how to use false color properly. But now that I've been playing with it for quite some time, I totally get it and it completely changed the way I expose my shots. In this video, I'll show you how to set up false color inside the Canon R6 Mark II, how to use it, and why it's such a powerful tool to expose your shots correctly. Especially for someone that is running gun shooter just like me and maybe you. Alright now, so before we dive in, if for any reason false color is grayed out, just try selecting it and a battle box will pop up showing you which option is preventing false color to turn on. But to save you the headache or to save you the trouble, here's a quick list of features you'll need to turn off in order to use false color. First one is time-lapse movies. Then you need to turn off auto lighting optimizer. There's also manual focus peaking you need to turn off. You need to turn off zebras, and then you need to turn off view assist also. Alright, now that false color is accessible, you might want to assign it to a custom button. In my case, I chose to assign it to the depth of field button in front of the camera. Simply go into the orange menu under customize button and you can set it up that way if you want to. So to understand how false color work, let's head into the red menu, page 7, under the false color settings. Here's how to read the chart and what each color tells you about your exposure. Red means your whites are clipping, you're losing all the details in the brightest areas. Yellow indicates that you're just below clipping. Pink represents one stop over 18% gray. This is the perfect zone to expose for the skin tones, for the face especially. Green shows 80% gray. Blue means that you're just above black clipping. This is where deep shadows live, but there's still some detail left. Purple shows all black is clipping and all the detail is lost in the shadow. So how do we actually use false color? Well, it's super simple. Let me give you an example right here. I'm in my room and the most important thing that I want to focus on is my face. So how do I do this? Well, I will either change the setting on my main source light or on my camera to see some pink appearing on my face. If I look at my screen right now, I see some pink right here. So that tells me that my face is exposed properly. And that's it. That's all I have to do. I don't care about any other information like the waveform or the histogram or the light meter. I don't look any of that because now with false color, it's super simple. You look at the colors and the colors tells you what your exposure is. So in that particular case, if I want to expose for a person, I only look at the brighter side of the face of the person and I want to see some pink in there. All right, so what if you want to expose for B-roll and your subject is not a person? Let's say it's a dog or an object. You should still use false color and it's just as simple. So the same rule applies no matter what the subject is. I just try to put as much pink as possible on that subject. Now, what if there's no clear subject and you just want to expose for a landscape, for example? Well, in that case, I just make sure that nothing in the image is clipping, and also I make sure that the shadows are not crushed, so there's no purple. I try to keep the sky below clipping by eliminating any reds that I see, and also avoiding also yellows. That way I keep the details in the highlights and I avoid overexposing brighter areas. And like I said, on my screen I also try not to see too much purple because I don't want to have some grain in the shadows. Now there's another rule I follow when using false color. I try to create brightness contrast, and what I mean by that is that I don't want all the image to live in the midtones that would show up on my screen as everything being like green or pink, because most of the time that turns out to be like uninteresting and a flat image. Instead, I want to see a mix of red, yellow, purple, blue, pink, green, every color on my screen. That's how I know that I have a big contrast in my image. Like I have dark areas and I have bright areas. That helps my image to be richer, more dynamic and less flat. Of course, this is not always possible. Sometimes the lighting or the scene doesn't always allow this. But when I can, I'll try to, let's say, move my subject to a different position, maybe in the shadows a little bit more. And if I can add some more lights in the background just to add a little bit of depth. So every time I turn on false color now, I just look at my screen and it automatically reminds me that I want to have a mix of colors now. Again, I don't always follow this rule, but when I do, I always find that my image are like visually interesting. One minor downside that I found using false color on the Canon R6 Mark II, I don't know about the other cameras, but on the Canon R6 Mark II, you can't use false color at the same time as an external monitor. So let's say I plug my camera to an external monitor, I turn on false color, it won't show up on the external monitor. That sucks, because a lot of the times I will use an external monitor, like in this scenario right now, I'm filming myself and I look at a small screen. Sometimes it's hard to see the colors, but when I use a big monitor, a big external monitor, it's really easier to see the colors. What I end up doing is that I will, of course, turn off false color in my camera, but I will use the false color on my external monitor. So yeah, but this is a little bit confusing because the external monitor have its own false color index, so it has different colors on the chart, so it's hard to like remember like which color or which and everything like that. But most of the case, I just look at pink also on the external monitor and I know that my face is exposed correctly. That's it, guys. That's how I use false color inside the Canon R6 Mark II. So to recap, try to include bright and dark areas in your shot that will show up as red, green, blue, yellow, purple, blue. Try to include every colors, but also remember to expose your face correctly by putting some pink in the brighter side of the face of the person. And this is it. This is so simple. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something out of this video. If you would like, please put a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be doing more videos like this. So all right, take care, guys. Take care, guys. So all right, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.